Hey guys, I'm Phoenix Gray and welcome to LitRPG Happy Hour, where I sample LitRPG and alcoholic beverages. Feel free to drink along if you dare. Today's game will be Roll a D6. I'll be reading a sample of Shepherd Moon, Singularity Point Book 1 by G.R. Cooper. To get this game started, I'll roll a D6, and whatever number it lands on, I have to take a drink after that many paragraphs. This will continue until I either get to the end of the sample or have to tap out because I've drank too much. If you want to follow along, pause this video and download a copy of the book sample at the link below, or you can just take a drink whenever I do. As a disclaimer, I do not read every book that I drink to. This is all for fun and to help spread the word about LitRPG and these awesome books. Having said that, let's get started. So if you notice, some of these videos have like the I might tap out disclaimer and some of them don't. That's because some of these videos I tend to drink more than others. This is going to be a drinky video. I am drinking today this Long Island iced tea icebox wine cocktail that is a 12.5% alcohol by volume. If you like Long Island iced teas, you will hate this. It tastes nothing like one and it's actually pretty gross. So the reason I'm drinking this is because I really want to get it out of my refrigerator. It's been taking up space for a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into a glass. In case I finish this, I also have a backup beer because this really isn't a whole lot left in this bottle. So trickle, trickle, trickle. Oh, it smells gross too. Alright, so there's that. Today I'm going to be using my Cthulhu dice. Since you can't really see what I'm rolling, this is going to be done on like an honor system thing. But these are really cute. One of my friends gave it to me. You can't really see very well, but there are little tentacles on them. I don't think it's going to focus for you to see. Alright, so let me give it a roll. And one, I have really bad luck. I think this die is weighted because I actually used it to do some stuff with my own book today. And it seemed to have a preference for one. But yeah, so I'm going to be drinking after every paragraph, which means I'm probably going to be wasted by the end of this video. So anyway, there it is. There's a one. I would not fake that because that's a horrible number to roll. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Are they ready? They hardly. It's only been 20,000 cycles, but maybe individuals might be ready. Pick some likely candidates. Test them. I'm definitely going to need that backup here. Chapter 1. Duncan Sheridan stood in front of the glass wall awed. A planet hung above the viewpoint, dominating the vista. Looking up, the blue orb threatening to disorient him, replacing up with down, negating every life lesson gravity had taught. What's it made of? The planet? Whatever planets are made of, it doesn't matter, it's just computer graphics anyway. Duncan turned his head to look at his friend. No, I meant the glass. He looked back at the view. I mean, it's a huge half dome. It must be 100 meters across. At least, said Matt. And there are no visible supports, no framing, just an unbroken semicircle of clear glass. He looked back at Matt. Is it silica? Diamond? What? Matt laughed. You want to know, fundamentally, what it really is? It's computer code. It's a rule that says this thing separates nasty space vacuum from life-supporting gases. It's see-through and probably indestructible. And anyway, Matt continued, you're 20 seconds into the first location in a functionally limitless virtual universe. The room was designed to impress new players, and the first thing you notice is the one thing you can't see. Matt laughed again. You're hilarious. Come on, let's get you set up. Matt pulled Duncan away from the view, and turning, they walked toward what looked like an information kiosk. As they approached it, Duncan heard, as though a voice inside his head. Welcome to Omegaverse, Duncan Sheridan. I'm your personal assistant, Clive. You can call me up by name or by selecting the question mark icon on the lower left side of your user interface. Please do so now. An icon in the lower left of his field of view began rapidly flashing, so he focused on it, then thought select, and the neural interface in his VR helmet carried out the command. Thank you, Duncan. As you move through the Omegaverse, you will undoubtedly have many questions. I will, to the best of my ability, give you the answers. Duncan smiled. What's the glass in the dome made of? A lattice of carbon similar to diamonds, we believe. The technology is beyond our capabilities. We assume, like most of the technology in the Omegaverse, that it was created by the Old Ones. What are the Old Ones? A race from the distant past. Nothing is known of their history. All we have left of them is their technology. What planet is that? The one we're orbiting. Kepler 22b. Thanks. How do I go back to talking to other players? He asked. Matt looked bored. Either click on my icon, which functions as a toggle, or dismiss me verbally. Others around me can't hear you and I talk. Can't hear you and I talk. In time, we'll get to know each other well enough that you won't have to either call or dismiss me. Matt smiled at him. Are you ready? Am I ready for what? Playing? Duncan asked. What about my name, my character, my class, skills, attributes, all that stuff? Matt waved his hand dismissively. None of that stuff applies. This isn't like some fantasy role-playing game where you're playing an elf or a barbarian. You're you, Duncan Sheridan, 20th level dork. Some parts are customizable, he continued. You can set your nickname, the name that displays to other players, but for the most part, any special abilities or skills you have developed for you as you play, however you play. But everything you need to do, you just do. Your skills are as much tied to your actual abilities as it is anything else. As you practice, you'll likely gain a proficiency in artificial increments, but that just helps by a matter of a few percent. So it's only really noticeable statistically. By far, most of the advancement you'll do as a player is tied to your equipment. Duncan shook his head. That doesn't make any sense. Matt smiled. It will soon enough. He turned. Follow me, and started walking towards the door opposite the glass dome behind the kiosk. Alright, I'm ready to do for a refill. This should tap out this bottle. So here we go again. The fact that this is taking forever to pour is a little annoying to me, so I'm sorry you guys have to wait on that. Anyway, it's gone. It's out of my fridge. I'm really happy about that. So far, this read is really fast-paced, which I like. It kind of gets into the action right away. Let's see. Anyway, where did I leave off at? Duncan followed through the automatic door, which led into a short hallway with another door at the other end. Once through the door, which closed behind him, a disembodied voice asked, Destination? That was actually in 2 paragraphs, so I'm going to take 2 drinks. Home sweet home, said Matt, who continued through the alcove. As he reached the end, the next door opened, and Matt, Duncan in tow, walked through into what Duncan thought looked like a medium-sized apartment, sparsely furnished with disjointedly eclectic styles. Matt waved his arms expansively. Mi casa, su casa, after which Duncan received a message in text across the top of his field of view. Access level granted. Permanent guest. Special restrictions? None. Guest? Asked Duncan. Yeah, that means that you're allowed to be here whenever you like. Permanent means that I don't have to be here. No restrictions means you can access or mess with whatever you like, laughed Matt. So don't fuck up my place. Wow, thanks, Duncan said, who then heard Clive's voice. I've set up your access code for this destination to be Matt's place, though you can change it to whatever you like. Just ask. Thanks, sub-vocalized Duncan. Then to Matt, do I need a key or something? Nah, you're allowed in, and so is anyone you're grouped with, but they don't have any access apart from being here. Walking around, they can look but not touch. Duncan began looking around the space. This place is better decorated than your real apartment. Cleaner, too, Matt laughed. Have a seat, I'll be back in a minute. He went through a door in the wall opposite the front door. Instead, Duncan began exploring the room. Next to the front door, hanging on the wall, was an old-time 20th century advertisement poster for Coca-Cola. At the bottom right, it was numbered 27-500. Clive chimed in. Advertisers can purchase loot drops in lots. Depending upon rarity and desirability, these items can command a large sum in auctions. Really? Asked Duncan. For a decoration? He focused on the bottom, reading the fine print. Trademark and copyright notices. Then saw found by Matt Vanderveer, March 16th, 2021. Yes, continued Clive, but the drops aren't limited to decorations. Clothing, weapons, anything you can think of really has probably been marked in some manner. Matt returned. Like it? Found that poster during a really hairy fight. Wasn't sure I was going to be able to survive long enough to get it back here. I could probably sell it for $20, but I like it. Here, continued Matt, I have some equipment you can have. A dialogue box appeared in Duncan's upper right field of view. He focused on it and saw a list of items. An M4 assault rifle. Sorry about that, guys. I knocked my webcam off of my computer by bumping my desk. Anyway, let me go ahead and continue. A dialogue box appeared in Duncan's upper right field of view. He focused on it and saw a list of items. An M4 assault rifle, a 45 M1911 pistol, some body armor, and a few small packages marked 45 5 magazines or 5.56 5 magazines. He looked to the accept icon below the list and chose it. Clive helpfully began flashing another icon on the left side of his view, marked inventory, so Duncan chose that, opening another larger sheet. He began reading through the list, which overlaid his field of view. The boxes, icons, and words were semi-transparent, so he was able to walk to the middle of the room and sit in one of the chairs near where Matt was sitting. Isn't this kind of low-tech for a space game? Duncan asked. I mean, I just assumed this would all be lasers and plasma rifles in the 40-watt range. Matt laughed. Just what you see here, pal. Anyway, we'll be heading off to clear out an Earth-like planet. Probably nothing more than the local equivalent of some tigers and bears. These will be enough, and the ammo is dirt cheap. We'll get to the cool toys later. Alright, taking a small pause again to open another beverage, because I ran out of that. Yes, these are more Dos Equis because I actually enjoy drinking these. Fortunately, I do not have salt on this, but it's okay. It's kind of whatever at this point. There we go. Alright. Moving on. This isn't exactly what I want to go up against tigers and bears either, said Duncan. Matt laughed. Don't worry, there are 4 of us. Duncan closed the inventory window, paused, and looked at Matt. This is a lot of information pretty fast. Yeah, but if you'd been alone, you'd have been led through a series of newbie introductions, he laughed. At this point, you'd probably be learning how to call up your inventory, change your clothes, or select how you look. Since you have me, he bowed, you get the quickie intro. Duncan looked over Matt. The resemblance to his real-life visage was remarkable. What do I look like? Nothing like the real Duncan, just some generic schmuck, laughed Matt, while Clive opened up a box labeled personal info. If you like, said Clive, I can scrape your social media accounts for pictures and put together a reasonable facsimile of you. Be advised, however, that while the service is free for the first time, any additional changes require a payment based on the amount of change as well as current market rates. Would you like me to make the change? Sure. There he is, exclaimed Matt. That's the ugly mug I'm used to seeing on the bar stool next to mine. The picture in the top left of the personal info page changed to mirror the picture he used on social media for his profile picture. Below was listed the standard social media information such as name, age, and location. All but his name were currently grayed out, indicating that they were not shared publicly. Just then the door opened, admitting Clancy and Vince. Well, said Vince, look who finally got off his ass and signed up. Yeah, let's go kill some shit, said Clancy. Sounds good, said Matt, getting up from his chair. Time to saddle up, and headed for the door. The 2 new guys did an about-face, following him. Duncan jumped up and trailed his 3 friends, the door to Matt's place closing behind him as the 4 crowded into the short hallway. Destination? Mission Control, said Matt and Clancy simultaneously. The door opened as Clancy, first in line, arrived. Once through, Duncan looked around into the space, much larger than even the first introduction room had been. Come on, said Clancy. Let's find a good warship. Shannon going to make it? Asked Matt. Yeah, said Vince, but probably not for not an hour or so. But probably for not an hour or so. Plenty of time for a milk run. The four of them, Duncan and Trail, entered through another automatic airlock into what looked like a small booth, with 2 seats on either side. As they grabbed their seats, Clive piped up for Duncan. Ooh, sorry about that. This is a lot of carbonation in a very short span of time. As this is your first mission, there are some differences between what you're experiencing from the rest. Matt, as group leader, is currently selecting mission parameters, difficulty, duration, and so on. All of them are currently selecting whether or not to rent mission equipment or to ensure equipment they own. Until you've had a chance to gain some experience and earn some credits, equipment or insurance will be provided to you, free of charge. A message flashed across the top of his field of view. I'm actually really wishing I would have opened the portal right now. Vinsanity and Clancy have been added to your group by Pope. Hey, noob, yelled Vince. Set your nickname. Clive, said Duncan. Set my nickname to Taipan. The cheers from his teammates told him that Clive had complied. Clive added, I've also taken the liberty of setting up a standard combat overlay. This will display the nicknames of your teammates over their heads, color-coded to reflect their current health status, green, yellow, or red. You can tailor this to your specific needs over time. During the mission, I'll leave it off by default, but you can ask for it at any time. When do we get there? Duncan asked, looking around at his teammates, their heads crowned by the green letters spelling out Pope, Vinsanity, and Clancy. We're already there, said Vince, and we'll unass this crate as... Wow, unass, okay. And we'll unass this crate as soon as you're ready. Lock and load, noob. Duncan pulled up his inventory screen. Clive unboxed those magazines and put them in the bandolier slots. He pulled the .45 from its holster slot, grabbed a pistol magazine from the bandolier, slammed it home, and jacked around. After replacing the loaded pistol in the holster, he pulled the M4 off the large inventory slot on his back. To his friends, it looked like he reached behind himself and pulled the rifle off of his back. He pulled a 30-round magazine from the bandolier, put it into his rifle, and pulled the charging handle on the top of the receiver. He made sure the safety was on, then looked up to his friends. Ready? Alright. Chapter 2. This is pretty fast-paced. I like that it's fast-paced. Right now, as far as buzz goes, I'm feeling about a 5 out of 10. I drank that really quickly. I'm really wishing I had opened a porter because without salt, this is actually kind of gross to me, but I'm going to keep going. If I finish this, I'm probably going to pause the video again to get something else, something that's more palatable because, yeah, I'm used to drinking this with lime and salt, so it's not very good plain. Anyway, and sorry, yes, burps are going to be a thing because of all the carbonation. Not sexy, I know, but that is the facts of life. Chapter 2, the evening before, Charlottesville, Virginia, USA. Duncan pulled open the door and walked into the brew pub. After the hot Virginia humidity, the air conditioning made it feel like his skin was suddenly awash in cold water. As his eyes adjusted from the brightness of the late afternoon sun to the dimly lit interior of the restaurant, he made his practiced way through the crowd to his usual seat at the end of the copper-topped bar. He placed a large box on the bar as he climbed onto the stool. Reaching around the box, he lifted the pint of ale that Shannon had begun pouring as soon as he saw him walking down the street to the bar. He took his first long, deep draw from the glass, sighed, and set the glass back onto the bar. "You're late," said Matt, one stool over. "For beer? Are you unwell?" "Nah, just had to drop by the store and pick up a little something." He used his pocket knife to begin slicing through the packaging tape on the box. The nagging finally paid off, didn't it? Said Clancy, sitting around the corner from Duncan and Matt, who took the 2 seats at the end of the bar. You're finally going to join us. The open box revealed what, to Duncan, looked like a kind of egg-shaped face, rounded back, more pointed in the front, with a large hole in the middle. He pulled it onto his head. Hey, Shannon, does this make my head look fat? No more than usual, fathead, she laughed. Now finish that beer, I've already pulled your next one. He took the helmet off, took a drink of his beer, and looked through the bottom of the box. Pulling out a small container, he read the label. Haptic gloves? He asked. Yeah, said Vince. They go with a helmet. They provide feedback so you can feel and use stuff in the game. Clancy nodded. It's pretty freaky until you get used to it, but once you do, it really does make it seem more real. Much better than using a mouse and keyboard, added Matt. Duncan put the gloves back in the larger box, looked back at the smooth plastic egg of the helmet. There aren't any connection ports, he mused. Yep, said Clancy. It's self-contained. Computer, display, wireless connection, speakers. It's all in that egg. There's a little pad for charging the battery. Just leave it sitting on the pad overnight, you'll be good to go. Never had any battery issues. Alright, I skipped oh my god. Big ass is bad. Sorry, guys. This is real life right here. Anyway, I skipped a paragraph, so I gotta take 2 this time. Duncan put the helmet back in the box, which he then closed. He took another long pull on his beer, slid the empty glass toward the bartender, and placed it with one she'd just brought. He looked up as his friends let out a cheer of welcome. Their friend Jamie had arrived in town for the weekend from Baltimore. As Shannon ran from behind the bar to give Jamie a hug, Vince and Clancy changed seats to allow him one on the corner, in the middle of the group. After the welcomes were complete, Jamie looked at the box sitting in the bar in front of Duncan. What is that thing? He asked. Virtual reality helmet, said Duncan. Next gen, added Clancy. Duncan's doomed, laughed Vince. Your future, said Matt in an evil whisper. And Jamie laughed. My future? How so? We've got Duncan to finally get one to join us in the Omegaverse. Now we just have to get you in as well, said Shannon, shoving an overflowing shot glass of tequila in front of Jamie. What the hell is an Omegaverse? Asked Jamie as he lifted the glass to his nose, sniffed deeply, and then gently sipped the surface tension of the liquid bubble of agave nectar that threatened to overflow the glass rim. They began to describe it for Jamie. The Omegaverse was an online universe consisting of mini-games. The aspect that his friends focused on playing was a first-person shooter game called The Soldier. It consisted of a variety of mission types, some against AI opponents, some against human ones. The missions could be small, even solo, or could contain hundreds of other players working in cooperation or in conflict. A large variety of equipment was available, so loadouts could be configured to suit any specific mission parameters. One mission could be a group of 3 players with rifles, hunting through a jungle-covered planet for a deadly beast. The next could be a large-scale invasion of an industrial world with hundreds of attackers and defenders fighting for control. In addition to the soldier class of missions, there were tracks for those who'd rather pilot spacecraft, for the solitary exploration-based miner, to the space trading merchant, all the way to the heavy, Navy-like warship classes, the latter of which were often crewed by large numbers of players at individual stations such as navigation, weapons, helm, and shields. Space battles between factions controlling hundreds of ships fighting for control of entire sectors of the galaxy had occurred. Tangential activities were also springing up throughout the game. Player apartments had given rise to interior decorators. Some players had turned their apartments into homes, buying and selling rare game items. They were even a scholar class dedicated to studying the fictional technologies, trace it to its alien origins through clues players had been finding in the universe. Jamie and Duncan were taking all of this in. So what's the game? Asked Jamie. Isn't that what they've been telling us? Asked Duncan. Not really. They're all activities. These are all activities, and I'm sure they're fun. But, sorry, let me start that over. Not really. They're all activities. These are all activities. Oh my god, I'm like fucking this up so bad. Not really. These are all activities, and while I'm sure they're fun, they aren't really a game. Games are fundamentally problem solving as entertainment. I see the entertainment part, but where are the problems that need to be solved? I see where you're going, said Shannon, cleaning out a pint glass. The reason for all of this running around and shooting control of parts of the game galaxy. As we complete missions or grow our wealth, our factions gain in power. Prestige. Yeah, nodded Matt. And with those gains come individual benefits. Access to newer, cooler stuff. The game is fairly new now, said Clancy, and the factions are still forming. They are mainly focused around the space stations. Our stations is made up of mainly East Coast Americans, with some Europeans and a few close time zones thrown in. Those are automatically generated. You're placed in those factions when you start, but player-generated factions are starting to spring up. Alright guys, that is the end of the sample. And again, that was Shepherd Moon, Singularity Point, Book 1 by G.R. Cooper. I liked it because it was really fast-paced. It got into the action really quickly. You know, a lot of books, even mine, they take a while to get into what's actually going on. But this one kind of jumped right in there. So I did enjoy that. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this reading, I know it was kind of weird and choppy because I was like legit taking a drink after every paragraph. I tried to drink and speak as quickly as possible, so I'm not really sure how choppy it came out. But anyway, if you enjoyed this book, you can check it out. Yeah, I'm pretty buzzed. Right now I'm probably about an 8 of 10. You can check it out at the link below this video. Anyway, I hope you have a good day, a good night, a good week, good weekend, and I will see you guys later.